Caleb and Deborah were stunned to see the strange resemblance in Jude with someone who was familiar to them, someone who had passed away years ago. Have you ever seen a 17-year-old boy behave so strange? I did feel something strange about him, but possession is a bit out there. The kid's just a weird stalker. Avoid him, Deborah. Maybe he'll move on. Ethan Wilson was a close friend of Deborah since her childhood years, and Caleb was a close friend of Ethan who later became friends with Deborah as well. They grew up in Sedona and went to the same high school. It was a long time ago, nearly 18 years, when Ethan and Deborah were in their sophomore year in high school that they started dating. They truly loved each other, and at first everyone thought it was just childish infatuation, but the couple was unbreakable. The two were in their senior year when they had planned to get married once they would graduate. But something tragic happened that summer. Ethan suddenly went missing. No one knew what happened to him. The police were no help in finding him. Deborah went into depression. Caleb was devastated. When months had gone by and the police couldn't locate the whereabouts of Ethan Wilson, people began to assume that Ethan was no more. A few days went by where the townspeople held a memorial and came to give flowers and light candles. But soon the people dispersed and continued on with their lives. Everyone but Deborah. She was miserable. She mourned the death of her true love. Caleb was upset about his friend as well. But it was during this difficult time that Deborah found the emotional support she desperately needed from Caleb. If it weren't for him, Deborah might have taken drastic steps. The worst of all thoughts were coming to her. She couldn't live without Ethan, the love of her life. It was when she attempted to try something crazy that Caleb came to her rescue. He was there to counsel her and give her a shoulder to cry on. Deborah, however, was a mess for the whole year that followed. But it was also during this time that she got quite close to Caleb, and subconsciously started to fall in love with him. Eventually, the two started dating, and a year after that, they got married. Caleb and Deborah put this tragic event of their lives past them and tried to move on. They started a happy life together. Caleb started his own business, while Deborah worked on her passion of painting from home. Fast forward a few years, and they had their first child, Elizabeth. The couple had moved past the death of their friend, until strange things started to occur. Until Ethan returned to their life through Jude. Deborah did exactly what Caleb told her, but Jude was stubborn. He wouldn't budge. What made things more difficult was the fact that he lived right across the street. Deborah was dumbfounded by the way Jude always knew when she would come out of the house and when she would be back. She kept a good eye on him as well. She found out that Jude had been watching her from his window, the same window that she had broken once while she was calling Ethan. As the days went by, Jude's behavior only made Deborah even more anxious. Things were only getting creepier as Jude started to wait for her outside her house. Deborah had been hearing Jude knock on the door and call her for a while now. She didn't want to open the door, but she started to fear that the neighbors would show up on the street. She slowly opened the door and whispered to Jude, "Jude, what are you doing? How long have you been knocking on the door? Why weren't you opening the door if you heard me knocking? What do you want from me, Jude? I think it's better if we speak in private, unless you want others to overhear us. I'm not afraid to confess my love to you in front of everyone." "No, don't do anything crazy. Come in." Deborah let Jude in and sat him down. "Jude, you're young and naive. What are you doing? You know I'm married. I have a child. How can you do this? Why are you calling me Jude when you know who I am? Do I not have any place in your heart anymore? Have you forgotten me? Do you really expect me to believe you're Ethan?" "Deborah, I'm not taking no for an answer. You know you love me, and if it's Caleb that's stopping you from accepting that, I'll get rid of him." Have you gone crazy, Jude? What are you saying? Open your eyes, Deborah. I'm not Jude. Jude got up from his chair and headed towards the door. I'll be waiting for you, and hear me when I say this. I'll take his life if I need to. Jude went out the door. Deborah watched him from her window. The whole evening he sat by his window, staring at her. At one point, Deborah shut all the curtains and tried to focus on other things. She spent the evening helping her daughter with her schoolwork and preparing dinner. When Caleb got home, he sensed something was bothering her. What's wrong, Deborah? Is everything okay? It's Jude. I've been trying to avoid him, but he just won't stop. I can speak to his father. No, Caleb, don't do that. I sensed something wasn't right. I call him Jude, but he keeps telling me he's Ethan. What if there really is something in that house? What if Ethan's spirit was still there? Deborah, tell me the truth. Has he tried to do anything? I won't spare the kid, no matter how young he is. Calm down, Caleb. He's never been inappropriate towards me. I'm just afraid one of these days he might try something dangerous. Leave it, Deborah. If he's not trying to be a little stud, what could he possibly do? He's a 17-year-old kid. I'll see if I can scare him off. Caleb tried to make Deborah forget her worries. The two played a game of chess, joked around, and watched a movie before they finally went to sleep for the night. It was in the middle of the night, however, that Deborah woke up. Caleb was sleeping beside her. She went to the kitchen to get a glass of water, when she got a feeling that someone was in the house. Deborah got nervous. She turned around and got a glimpse of a shadow in her hallway. Deborah hurried to the hall. She breathed out in relief to see that it was empty. Perhaps she was just too stressed out. But just when she was going to return to the kitchen, she heard a creak upstairs. Suddenly, Deborah noticed the windows at the end of the hall open. She realized what had woken her up. It wasn't her. It was the knocking noise on the window that interrupted her sleep. She assumed it was her dreams. As soon as Deborah heard her doorknob twist, she ran upstairs to her room. There in the shadows stood a figure holding something sharp inches away from her husband. Jude, no! Caleb stumbled up from his sleep. What is going on? Jude's eyes were red in fury. In a coarse voice, he sternly said, I can do anything to get you, Deborah. I can do anything for our love. Jude, why are you doing all of this? I'm not Jude. I'm Ethan. Ethan Wilson. And you know very well why I'm back. To seek revenge from you for taking my life and my love. What rubbish, Jude. Ethan has been missing for nearly 18 years. Jude paced around. I haven't been missing for 18 years. It's you who has been lying for 18 years. My body is still laying there under the cliff at Oak Creek, where you took my life. This is absurd, Caleb shouted. Deborah, you know the truth. You know who I am. Look into my eyes. Remember the days we spent together. The nights I played the piano for you. Was that not between only you and me? Remember the days we spent in the canyon, where you used to bug me to collect those flowers? Remember the day you slipped? I carried you down the whole canyon. You still have that scar on your knee, don't you? Remember the night I proposed to you. It's been long, but how can you forget all our memories? I'll never forget what we had. And I've returned to tell you this man has only snatched you away from me. He's a betrayer, a traitor. You liar, Caleb shouted as he went to hit Jude. Just then, Deborah got in the way. Don't touch him, she yelled out with teary ears. All Jude had claimed was true. There was no way anyone could have known this other than Ethan. Those nights were special between her and him, and that scar, she had always kept it hidden. She turned to Jude and looked at him in the eye. Look, Jude, Even if you are Ethan, both you and I have started a new life. I have a daughter, and you have a long life ahead of you. Don't waste your life by making your hands dirty taking his life. If he's done this for me, he'll get his punishment, and the biggest punishment will be that he'll never get me or my daughter," Deborah said as the tears dropped from her eyes. Before she left, she didn't even glance back at Caleb, who kept calling her. "Deborah, how can you believe this fraud? Deborah, you can't leave me like this." Caleb went to hold Deborah back, but Jude stepped in the way. Deborah turned her head. "Go home, Jude. I'm leaving this house. Forever." Jude walked out with Deborah. Caleb sat down on his bed. He threw the lamp off the bedside table, fuming with anger. He ran to his window as soon as he heard the car start up outside. Deborah was in the car with Elizabeth. Jude spoke to her through the car window before she drove off. Caleb held his fist against the glass, clenching his teeth. "If I can take your life once, I can take your life again, Ethan Wilson." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.